I'm Garrett.
And I'm Daniel.
And this is Modern Gaze.
Everyone is talking about their era. An era is just that period of time in which you feel like you want to label it as a certain category.
So it could be like, I don't give a fuck era, or
I'm in my Zen era, do not mess with me.
Or it could be like, I'm in my healing era.
Which I did use a couple of weeks ago. And the beautiful thing is that an era is just a present moment in time. Like the era has an ending. So whether you're in a bad area or a bad part of your life or a good part, it's going to be short-lived and it's going to be leading you to your next era, which is going to be even more amazing, hopefully.
So this thing actually is, I think, a trend. This idea of calling out your era.
Yeah.
So you have the Taylor Swift era tour.
Correct.
You know, all the different eras of her life. You have drag queens like on this current season of RuPaul's Drag Race
who have been talking about era.
I'm in my bad girl era. I'm in my pretty girl era.
The song.
Yeah.
I'm in my PGE.
This era phase of our life. Maybe it's introspective. Maybe we're looking at ourselves, or we're talking about where we are in our lives at this given moment, and we're putting a name on it. We're giving it a title. We're giving it kind of something a little bit more momentous or something more meaningful, and we're trying to have fun with it.
Which I think is amazing. I think it's actually really cool that people are identifying or labeling an aspect of their life at this present moment and they're putting a name to it, which I think is really cool because let's say they're going through a really deep issue or it's a bad time. I think I said to you before, I saw something where it said a flop era where everything just like constantly goes wrong for the person, right?
Right.
So if someone's in their flop era, then the next era, you only can get better. Like that flop era is going to end and it's going to leap you into your, hopefully the golden era, right? You can be shining.
You know, we're talking about these different eras. What kind of eras are there? What are some good eras to be in?
I think a successful era or a boss bitch era or a happiness era. I think a happiness era is where everything is just going right. You're happy. You're just satisfied with life and you're happy with everything and everything is aligning for you and you're going with the flow. Let's chat about our personal eras.
Yeah.
If you had to give an era to January, February and March.
So at the beginning of the year, I was in a take a break era.
Yes.
Like just my hibernation era.
Okay, I like that. I was going to say I was in my snail era.
Yeah, the holidays were a lot. There was a lot of things going on. It was a bit crazy. So at the end of December, I wanted to just put my head in the sand and not see anybody.
I just felt like a snail personally. Like I was moving so slow. I wasn't motivated, even though it was summer here in Australia. And we got a decent summer for once. I just was not motivated. I was not feeling it. I was not into it.
I think most people are in that era or something similar to that.
But other people are like, yes, I'm like going to get fit and I'm not drinking alcohol and it's a new year. I'm like, girl, no. I'm a snail.
If you are always working towards your goals and you're very goal oriented, you're motivated, you look back at the year and you've taken multiple moments to achieve different things.
Maybe I got too reflective in December and then in January I was like, crap.
Yeah, that's when you're like, I'm done. You know, I've done enough this past 12 months. I need to take a break.
Okay.
So that's a good one because I think sometimes people who aren't like that, maybe they're in a different era come January. They're like, oh yeah, I'm ready to like achieve all my goals.
And good for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to be surrounded by them.
February, that's when I really get into like my reborn era. In Australia, you get 4 weeks of paid annual leave, which is unheard of in the United States. So sometimes you take like 2 solid weeks off just during that holiday period and you still have another 2 to use at the year ahead. So it's really hard to kind of get back into the swing of things.
Okay.
So in January, snail era, just kind of hibernation mode. Nothing's really happening. You're not working that hard because no one really is. And then bam, February, get to work.
See, February for me, I was floating. Like it's my NASA era. I'm just floating through space.
Oh, that's a good one. NASA era.
Right?
Nice Ariana Grande reference.
There's no there's no boss energy era yet. Like I haven't entered that yet in 2023. So it's my NASA era.
Okay. And then come to March, I'm in my kind of like laser focus era.
I felt like for you, February, you were more fire than March.
Really? I think I was a little bit more focused on our goals and make them happen. Not just like be like, this is what I want and this is what I want to achieve. It's more like put the gas all the way down.
Yeah. I'm in my new girl era.
New girl era.
Yeah. Because it's almost my birthday, Aries season. There's a lot of fire.
So you're feeling new, you're feeling fresh.
I'm feeling fresh vibes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just feel new energy. I feel newness coming into our life.
When people are thinking about their eras and reflecting back on the last 4 months, really, like, do you think you can go through that many eras in that short amount of time? Like, you're just like an era a month? Or do you think, how long do these eras last?
I think it's a great question. From what I have seen, people just have an era for a weekend. Like
for an hour.
An hour. It's short-lived. It can be short-lived. It can be your birthday era. It can be the weekend era. You could be just feeling yourself and you're like, I'm in my DJ era. You know, like an era isn't necessarily a month or a day or a week or a season.
So we were at brunch, right, with a couple friends of ours, and we told them that we were starting to see a lot of this chit chat on TikTok and Instagram around eras, and then it's all over RuPaul's Drag Race, which we're obsessed with, and Mistress, one of the contestants on the show, she's just like in a different era every 5 minutes.
They all are. Eras can be short-lived for a moment. It doesn't need to be a month. It can be a photo moment. It can be a weekend. It can be a day. It can be an event.
It can't be anything you want it to be. It has to be more like meaningful to the time, right? It's not just a moment I'm feeling. It's not like, oh, I'm in my bitchy era.
Yes, it is.
And I'm just going to be a bitch for 5 minutes?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, what I like about this whole concept of eras is that you are actually being self-reflective. Like you're actually looking at yourself and being like, how do I feel? Where am I at in my life?
You're acknowledging your feelings.
In this moment.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's a really great thing because it's awareness to, you know, listening to yourself.
Yes.
And giving time for yourself to like figure things out or to be more just like understanding of how you are feeling.
And I think it's so important to be aware of one, your feelings, two, your situation and your circumstances, but three, how to get out of it.
So it can be a joke, but it can also be really meaningful.
Yeah. And it's also can be celebratory, right? Like if you're having an incredible era, that's your winning era.
Right.
If you are in like a celebratory era, just like bask in that glory because we're so focused on the next thing. I do it like we have a win in our life and then like I'm already thinking about, okay, well, what's our next win or what is our next step or what do we need to get to next to get to our next goal? Whereas we don't actually focus on that era. We just are constantly jumping to the next and we don't celebrate it. So I think it's good because one, if you're in a flop era, you can identify your bad era and move forward from it. Or if you're celebrating life and you're freaking winning, which is what we want, then enjoy that era and don't rush through it to the next one.
But just to kind of move away from even the word era, right? These are just actually moments. And it's an opportunity for you to recognize that moment, give it a little bit of reflection, and decide what you want to do with it. Like, do you want to sit in that space and like sit in that energy and like really put all your energy and focus and extending that era as much as you can? Or do you want to change? Is it something that's maybe a little bit negative? So you can take steps to make a difference in your life.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I was just going to say. It would be good to identify the common patterns or the common trends, possibly about yourself and the way you're feeling and the way the energy you're putting out to receive that back into your life. I'm all about law of attraction, right? And like your vibe attracts your tribe and your frequency and like gratitude journaling and like visualization. And I feel like if you are in a winning era, like what is the energy that you're putting out to get that back for the universe to be like, okay, this is what you're putting out. This is what I'm going to give to you.
You always are journaling or you're working on manifesting something that you want or that you want to achieve or something that you want that you think that the universe should give to you.
Well, I write in a present tense.
Correct. Like you have it.
I always write like I have it. Correct.
So maybe using eras is a way to attract the kind of life or the kind of energy. So maybe saying like, I am in my...
I was going to use a terrible example. I'm in my it's giving era, but they ain't giving nothing. But maybe in 6 months, they will be giving. Do you know what I mean? Like it's about projecting and like attracting.
Yeah.
So,
or it's like, I'm in my like rich daddy era.
Oh, if anyone got a rich daddy, call us up now, girl.
No, like we could be our own rich daddy. Like
Okay.
we could just like, you know, you give that energy and you start thinking it and then
You become it.
You become it.
Yes.
You focus on achieving that.
I'm obsessed with Natasha Graziano. She actually talks about her story. She always talks about how if you want something, you have to be it first. And if you're not being it, then the universe isn't going to give that to you. I love how that talking about Eris has gone into like this spiritual manifesting, becoming something chat, but that's kind of cool.
For the idea of being self-reflective and being aware of what you have in your life and what you maybe don't want to lose or what you want to like work towards, it's very much like about manifesting and like focusing on like how you want to achieve something or how you want to bring that energy and
100%.
those, you know, attain those goals.
Yeah.
And if you're not into manifesting, you're not into the woo-woo
That's
like
fine.
crystals and astrology. The thing is, it's just about energy. It's about focus. It's about what you're putting your time into and what you're really wanting to achieve. So if manifesting is your thing, you can use eras to manifest.
I actually love how you've said that because it's pretty relevant. Because one, you're labeling the era and you're also giving yourself that title, I guess, or that personality.
Yeah.
And two, you're putting it out there. Like you're actually saying, this is me, this is my era. And then you're also saying you want to attract it. Like you're putting yourself forward, right? Maybe put forward the good eras more than the bad because you don't want to attract bad. You want to attract good.
Yeah. What are some eras you want to manifest?
I'm going to say my Golden Girls era.
Oh, okay.
Because I want an era where I'm just constantly winning and I want to feel on top.
Okay, but Golden Girls are 70-plus-year-old women who are retired in Boca Raton, Florida.
So can I say my gold? I love Palm Springs. So can I say my Golden Globe era?
Yes. Okay, so that Golden Globe era is award-winning, creative.
That's my award-winning era.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to be maybe not winning awards, but I want to just be winning at life.
Okay, cool.
I want to have more fun. So I want to like be more social, see more friends, make new friends, want to be open to...
Life of the party era.
Life of the party era. I like that. Yep. So I want to have more fun, be more connected, be more social, just have more fun moments together. And my third one would be happiness era. Because I feel like, not to get too deep, but I haven't been really grounded or satisfied or like happy consistently. But I feel like I'm getting there. As we said, Jan, Feb, I was a snail and then I was floating in space. Whereas now I'm in my new girl energy era and I feel like we're getting to that Golden Globe era. So I feel like after my new girl era, it's going to become my happy era. Then it's going to be my Golden Globe era.
Okay.
And isn't it funny how they kind of, each one gets me to the next? What would your three be?
I think abundance is my first era that I like would really want to focus on independently, like within my work, within what I do creatively. And then the second era would be just, fire era. Like I want my own Aries season because I'm always reserved. I'm very quiet. I'm the more shy one.
Yes.
And I really want to be like more outspoken, outgoing, interconnected with more of our friends.
Well, I'll hold you accountable to that and I'll push you to be more fiery.
Okay. So that era is coming.
Okay. I love these. So you've got an abundant era, a fiery era, and what's your third?
And I think my third era is adventure era.
The Dora Explorer era.
I want to see more of Australia.
Yeah.
I want to see more of Southeast Asia. I've been working on convincing
We're not
you
going to Bali.
go to Bali. So now that maybe you identified some of your eras and like for the people who may be listening to the podcast, like it would be great for everyone to really have an understanding of what era you're in, what eras you want to get into, what are you manifesting, what do you really want to work towards. And then once you have written out those things or, thought about those eras that you want to be in, unpack it a little bit more.
Okay, so now let's have some fun with the eras. Speaking of eras, the first question I'm going to ask you is, what is your favorite Taylor Swift song ever?
I think my favorite era of hers would be her Lover era.
Interesting.
Because I just think it's like a really nice culmination of like all of her previous albums. And when you look at a lot of the music video content and you look at the songwriting, it's kind of just like lots of full circle moments that reference previous, places of her life. And
oh yeah, that is a good album. Mine would be her Reputation era.
Why? Because that's just like a boss album.
100%. That's just my energy that I give. It's just like her comeback era. I love a fighter. I love a determined, motivated individual. And when she came back with like, Look What You Made Me Do, OMG.
So maybe like State of the World. I mean, like what is...
My God, it's heavy.
I mean, you could say U.S. politics is in its what era?
Flop era. U.S. politics, I'm going to say, it's Rihanna. It's an SOS, send help.
So Sasha Colby is in her winning era.
Oh, she's in her queen era. She's in her mother era.
By the time this podcast
would have come out,
is out,
she would have won.
Worst case, second place.
Don't even say that. Okay, next. What about RuPaul? What era do you think RuPaul is in?
Fighter Reborn. She, I think, has always been this really progressive support system for the whole LGBT community, but even more so for drag and trans people and just everyone that's maybe on the outer spectrum of the LGBTQIA fam. Obviously, there's been a really great platform that she's put on. So I think she's in her Fighter Reborn era because I think there was a moment where she got real comfortable.
Yes.
What is Britney Spears? What's her era?
Oh my God. Britney Spears is in her snail era like me. What era is 2023 in so far?
2023 Fast and Furious era.
Oh, do you mean like the months are going quick or you mean just like
life?
So much is happening.
So much is happening. The months are moving fast. There's a lot of change happening politically. There's a lot of things happening within our lives in general. Like everything just moves at such an insane speed today.
I like that. 2023 is in its Fast and Furious era.
Fast and Furious. And I think that works positive and negative. Positive thing is that you get to experience lots of life really quickly. And the negative is that change is happening really quick in some positive and some negative ways. So I think everything is happening at a hyper speed. If this idea of being in an era and calling it an era is a trend, what's the next trend?
4 eras.
How long is this going to last? How long are people going to be talking about their era?
Oh, I think maybe another month or 2 max. I think the next era word will be category.
Category.
People are already starting to talk about it. Category is like when people get dressed on Instagram, people are like, category is cowboy realness. I think it's going to be a category era because category is literally about that moment. Like you're dressed up, the category is 80s realness. The category is diva looks.
Yeah.
That's what I think it could be.
Yeah.
Anything else you think it might be?
No, I think that's actually a really good one. Category actually comes from the ball. There's voguing, there's a competition, and then maybe there's a dance off. There's like a runway challenge. So that's going to be the next trend, you think? Category.
I think it'd be really cool. Yeah. Imagine Instagram or TikTok or these social media apps, when you wake up, it would give you the category for the day and you had to embody that category. That'd be really cool.
So maybe if we're thinking back on trends, it was manifesting, then it was eras, and now it could be categories.
What makes you say that?
Because everybody and everyone and everything was manifesting something. And it was all about manifest. And now people are actually actively doing it. And I think it's making positive impact on people's lives. Now the idea of era is like, okay, I've manifested this life. I've manifested this era. What am I in? Kind of like being self-reflective. And then category is actually going even more granular and going really focused on like detail. So in speaking of eras, what do you think the current era is of the equality movement for LGBTQIA plus people?
It needs hydration and it needs attention. It needs attention. We fully support the trans community and recognize how tough it is for them right now and what they're going through for their rights and for their own protection.
At the very minimum, it is a topic of quality of life. It's a topic of the bare minimum of human decency.
Yeah, these people are humans, and not everyone is going to understand these people's identity, and that's okay.
We should really be in our fighter era again.
I think the entire community is fighting right now.
You think?
Yeah, I see so many posts on social media from the community about spreading awareness into like all these crazy bills that are going on in the US right now across the trans and the queer community. Social media has been a blessing because it allows people to see what's actually going on and fight for it. People are fighting for their rights again, especially within the trans community, who we fully support and we fully accept and love. It's terrible what they're having to go through for like things like healthcare. They're banning drag performances. They're calling drag queens pedophiles. It's not such a hard topic. And if you don't understand the idea of a queer or a trans or a drag queen, one, you should go talk to them and learn about it. Or two, it's none of your business and it's not affecting you. So just go and live your life and they will live theirs.
2023 is in
Fast and Furious
yep. era. What is happening in America has a great effect into what's happening in Australia. So we need to be prepared. And I think that's where that fighter era comes into now, that we're back into this mode of protecting our human rights and our civil rights and just the bare minimum of what we deserve as human beings.
This movement is happening right now. And I've told you this before. I'm into astrology. It is because Pluto has gone into Aquarius.
Oh my God.
So seriously, the last time this happened apparently was in like the 1970s or 1973. From now until I think it's like 2043 in May, it's going to be all about
2043.
Yeah, you better get ready, girl. Get that Christina Aguilera. You better warm up those vocal cords.
That's 20 years.
Yeah, it's for 20 years because it's all about change, fighting for change. There's going to be all this like forward advanced progression with like AI and technology in the digital world. It's a real thing. Like Pluto in Aquarius for the next 20 years has a massive significant imprint into technology and into civil rights movement. So let's see what happens and what plays out, because people are going to need to fight for what they believe in for a very long time.
Meaning that
the rest of our life,
we as a community need to come together and fight for our trans friends, our trans and queer and family members and everyone that we know that can be negatively impacted by horrendous changes in healthcare. Like we need to actually come together
and support them and fight for them. Yeah.
Everyone within our community and not just sit back and wait to see how this unfolds.
I mean, we've been watching drag entertainers. Drag is an art form. We've been watching people like Mrs. Doubtfire, like The Nutty Professor, like all of these shows that we've been watching on TV since I was
a kid.
Yeah, since I was a little kid. We would watch that as entertainment and as comedy and as an escape from life. When life is sad, we would watch Mrs. Doubtfire to have a good laugh because it's funny. I always remember her putting her face into the cake and she'd be like, hello! That was like my favorite moment ever.
Yeah, but I guess that's like, a straight actor playing a woman. Maybe it was like more welcomed and acceptable and family friendly because it was like a comedic experience. And
what's the difference? There is no difference.
There is, because these are actual gay people who are celebrating a part of their gay culture, and they're starting to be ostracized. They're starting to be diminished. There's laws and people in government trying to put out the light of this celebratory part of our gay experience.
It's about their identity and their life. This is their livelihood.
But this is also a part of us, right? Drag is also you and me. We are
Correct.
both, that's in our lives.
Correct.
Because that's a part of
Our community. Yes.
So I don't do drag. You don't do drag. We watch drag queens. We love RuPaul's Drag Race, but drag is a part of who we are because it's a part of our community.
It brings our community together.
So that attack on drag queens in
Is an attack on us,
Tennessee,
yeah.
and that attack on drag story time with kids in Oakley, those attacks are attacks directly to the gay community as well, because it's a piece of our identity. It's
For
a
sure.
celebratory art form that is misunderstood by people. If drag queens are a piece of the gay community and gay culture, and then you have families that look a little bit different, that have either gay or lesbian or non-binary parental role models within that family circle and in that family unit, that story time with a drag queen in Oakley telling a children's story about like self-acceptance and love and kind of celebrating all different types of love, you attacking that is a direct attack on those types of families that look like that. It's a direct attack on people that look like us and that live the life that we live.
The point is the era currently for the LGBTQIA community is fight. That's the era for us right now.
We all need to be in our fighter era when it comes to supporting one another and to focusing on any kind of legislation, support programming, nonprofits, people within your life that you can support better. I think we all need to come together.
Yeah. Come together and support our community.
And fight.
Yeah. Gay rights.